Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to demystify the critical, yet honestly, so often ignored, storage layer that powers your virtual machines. Most IT professionals spend their entire careers hyper-focused on the hypervisor layer, right? We're talking CPU scheduling, memory ballooning, network switches, but today, we're going deep into the foundation.
Think about what really sits underneath your hypervisor. I want you to look past the CPU and the RAM for a second and focus on the layer doing the absolute hardest work in your entire stack. We are talking about the layer reading and writing every single byte of your VMs, your virtual disks, memory snapshots, configuration files, log entries. We're talking about the file system. It's basically the city planner of your storage. It decides how land, which is your disk space, gets divided into plots or blocks. It dictates where buildings or files get constructed and how the city maintains records of absolutely everything that's been built. That is your metadata. Most importantly, the city planner decides what happens when an earthquake hits mid-construction, like a sudden power failure or a system crash. A bad city plan leads to urban sprawl and collapsed buildings, which in our world means brutal performance bottlenecks and metadata corruption. But a good one, it recovers fast and keeps your data flowing perfectly.
Here is our agenda for today. 1. The hidden storage city. 2. Windows and Linux heavyweights. 3. VMware's purpose-built dominance. 4. A ZFS deep dive. 5. Integrity and efficiency. And 6. Your storage decision framework.
Section 1. The hidden storage city. Foundational concepts.
Let's start with a crucial concept that keeps these virtual cities from collapsing, and that is journaling. It's a lifesaver that actually dates all the way back to the early 90s. A journal is essentially a write-ahead log. Before the file system actually commits a change to the disk, it logs exactly what it's about to do. Think of a chef writing down every step of a recipe before they even turn on the stove. If the power suddenly fails mid-write, the journal acts as a crash recovery safety net. The system can just replay or discard the in-progress operation, completely preventing catastrophic metadata corruption. Now, a massive evolution from that is copy on write, or COW. Contrast this with old-school file systems that just overwrite existing data right in place. When a COW file system needs to update data, it writes the new version to a totally new location, updates the pointer, and only then does it release the old blocks. This is an absolute superpower for virtualization. It means instant snapshots because you're just saving the pointer state, and it completely prevents partial write corruption.
Section 2. Windows and Linux heavyweights. Traditional file systems evolve.
First up, let's look at the Windows ecosystem. We have the classic NTFS versus the modern RFS. NTFS is an absolute workhorse, sure, but it doesn't have native copy on write. That means when Hyper-V takes a snapshot, NTFS relies on legacy differencing disks that create a huge amount of overhead. RFS, on the other hand, introduced a brilliant breakthrough called block cloning. Because it uses copy on write, when you create a VM checkpoint, RFS just creates a new reference to the existing blocks. So a checkpoint that might take minutes and cause a massive I/O bottleneck on NTFS completes in literal milliseconds on RFS. Over in the Linux world, we see a very similar divergence. X4 is the universal, mature, reliable engine behind a ton of KVM deployments, like early Proxmox. But under high concurrency multi-VM I/O, its single global lock can become a major bottleneck. Enter XFS, the default for Red Hat virtualization. XFS uses something called allocation groups. These are independent sections of the file system that can be read and written concurrently without locking each other up. It basically behaves like multiple independent file systems, allowing for extreme scalability when you have dozens of VMs just pounding the disk at once.
Section 3. VMware's purpose-built dominance, the clustered file system.
So, what happens when you decide general-purpose file systems just aren't going to cut it? You get VMware's VMFS. Back in 2002, VMware faced a huge hurdle. How do multiple ESXi hosts read and write to the exact same virtual disk files simultaneously without corrupting everything? The answer was VMFS and its on-disk locking, or ODL, mechanism. When one host needs to modify metadata, it acquires a lock right on the storage array, makes the change, and releases it. This native shared cluster file system completely revolutionized the industry because it paved the way for features we literally take for granted today, like vMotion and high availability, even though it traditionally relies on pretty expensive external SAN or NAS hardware.
Section 4. ZFS deep dive. Data integrity first.
Now let's explore a fundamentally different philosophy. ZFS completely collapses the traditional storage stack. So the hardware RAID, the volume manager, and the file system are all baked into a single integrated layer. You start with physical disks grouped into VDFs.
Those feed into a massive storage pool, or Z pool, and from there you provision datasets, or ZVols. In virtualization environments like Proxmox VE, VMs use ZVols, which act exactly like raw block devices, but magically inherit all of the advanced ZFS file system features underneath.
There's a reason ZFS is so often called the gold standard. It treats data integrity as a top-tier priority. Every single block of data and metadata carries a checksum. If you read a file and the checksum fails, ZFS silently and automatically fetches the correct copy from a mirror and heals it right on the fly. It is practically magic. Combine that with instantaneous copy-on-write snapshots, incredibly fast inline LZ4 compression that actually improves I/O performance, and native replication via ZFS send, and you have an incredibly robust engine for storing business-critical VMs.
Section 5. Integrity and efficiency. Modern storage architectures. Let's see how these architectures stack up against modern hyperconverged challengers. Nutanix completely shifted the paradigm away from external SANs. Rather than relying on a traditional file system, Nutanix uses a layered software-defined approach. On every single node, a controller VM, or CVM, runs proprietary software. Using a driver called AFD, this CVM bypasses the hypervisor entirely to get direct, bare metal speed access to the local NVMe and SSD drives. Then, the Nutanix Distributed File System, or NDFS, ties all those nodes together, distributing data across the cluster using replication factors. It's a localized manager, creating a massive, highly resilient fabric.
Then we have the HCI challenger, Virg.io, running VirgFS. While a lot of systems deduplicate data within a single node of volume, VirgFS provides global inline deduplication across literally every single byte in the entire cluster, even across different tenants' VMs. It hashes every single write against a global index. This allows for unprecedented storage efficiency and unlocks entirely unique capabilities, like being able to take a single atomic snapshot of an entire multi-tenant data center in just milliseconds.
The real-world impact of these architectural choices is massive. You start at a baseline of 1.0x with raw NTFS or XFS. You gain a little bit of ground with RES blog cloning. But as you move up the ladder to ZFS with inline compression and deduplication, you start seeing 2 to 4 times efficiency. And at the absolute peak, hyperconverged platforms like Nutanix and VirgFS, using global deduplication and erasure coding, are delivering massive 3.0 to 8.0x storage efficiency multipliers. And that translates directly into huge hardware cost savings for us.
But look, efficiency isn't everything. Safety is paramount. Bit rot, or silent data corruption, is terrifying. Fun fact for you, a single cosmic ray from space passing through your server room can flip a bit on your drive. Seriously. The drive doesn't report an error, the legacy file system doesn't notice a thing, but the data is corrupted. Without an enterprise storage array doing the heavy lifting or a modern self-healing file system like ZFS or NDFS utilizing end-to-end checksumming, you are flying completely blind against silent corruption.
Section 6. Your storage decision framework. Choosing the right file system. Let's rapidly summarize the trade-offs here. If you need copy-on-write and instant snapshots, ReFS, ZFS, Nutanix, and VirgFS are your absolute winners. If you demand open-source software with uncompromising, mathematically verifiable end-to-end checksumming, ZFS stands practically alone. If global inline deduplication is your main goal for a huge VDI deployment, VirgFS and Nutanix take the crown. Meanwhile, VMFS remains the proprietary, battle-tested king of multi-host shared SAN access.
So, what should you actually take away from this? In most cases, your hypervisor is going to dictate your path. If you are staying in the VMware ecosystem with a shared SAN, VMF6 is essentially mandatory. If you're a Windows shop rolling out Hyper-V with storage spaces direct, RES is your clear winner to unlock block cloning. Running KVM on Linux, stick to the high concurrency power of XFS. And if you're building an open-source, high-integrity virtualization cluster using Proxmox VE, ZFS is going to be your absolute best friend.
Before we wrap up, please avoid these critical IT operational pitfalls. First, formatting an NTFS volume for virtual disks with a 4 kilobyte block size will absolutely crush your performance. Always use 64 kilobyte for Hyper-V. Second, never let snapshots accumulate on VMFS or NTFS. They will degrade your I/O exponentially. Third, do not blindly turn on ZFS deduplication unless you have a massive amount of RAM. The golden rule is 1 gigabyte of RAM for every terabyte of deduped data, or your performance will just crash. And finally, don't overpopulate your VMFS data stores. Too many VMs fighting for the exact same on-disk lock is going to cause huge latency spikes. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. We are seeing NVMe over fabrics delivering bare metal speeds over standard networks, which really erodes the need for traditional SANs. We're seeing hypervisors successfully backing virtual machines directly onto S3-compatible object storage. As these lines blur, you have to ask, is the traditional block file system as we know it destined to become obsolete? It's a totally fascinating shift to watch, especially as we navigate the evolving post-VMware infrastructure landscape. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this deep dive helps you build stronger, faster, and much more resilient storage cities.